Hello coders. So in this video we are going to discuss authorizing microservices in Spring applications. So why we need authorization, that we have to discuss first. We are using HTTP as the protocol for using the microservices, means the client and the microservice holder, means the web server, communicate with each other by using the protocol HTTP. And HTTP is a stateless protocol, means two consecutive requests, or when one application or one client sends a request through HTTP to the server serves the response to the user or to the client, then forgets the user or the client. Again, when the client comes, there is no identity of the previous request is going to be there in the current request. So that's why no connection between two consecutive requests. That we are trying to resolve by different approach. There are globally accepted approach is JWT, JSON Web Token. But if we want, we can go for using session with cookie if you are limited only to the web application in browser. But if you look at suppose mobile application or some other devices where we are not going to use the web browser, then the cookie or session cannot be used. That you should remember. So I just want to recall the last example which we have discussed, that I will put in the description box. So what is the microservice? Just I am trying to explain over here. The microservice is a set of endpoints present in the web application, which is going to provide some response to the user. It might be JSON, it might be XML, it might be text, on request from the client application. The client application may request the endpoints by using GET or POST or PUT, and the client application also can be different type of application. It can be a mobile application, it can be a web application, it can be a web browser, it can be even if a postman if you are going to test it. So that is what microservice can perform, any task, any independent task in fact, by using a set of endpoints. Now the authorization, why we need, let us explain it. Suppose in a real life scenario, we have some kind of servicing center for different services whichever we are getting. There are different servicing center and there are different consumers. The consumer gives a complaint to the servicing center, the complaint description also. The consumer, when it comes to the servicing center, it gives the consumer detail also, and the representative whoever is there in the servicing center, that's going to take the request from the consumer with the consumer details, complaint description, then find out in the database is that consumer is valid or not. Then the representative provides some solution how to resolve the problem which the consumer is facing. That might be any trick or whatever problem might be there, the representative gives the solution. Okay. till that point it's alright. When the solution whichever the representative provides to resolve the complaint, if that solution doesn't work and the consumer comes again, okay, then in that case what will happen? The consumer will provide the consumer details again and complaint description again. Then whatever the complaint status at that moment, because the consumer comes for the second time, then the representative whoever is going to be there, that's going to be some other person. He doesn't know anything about the consumer, so he asks for the again, who are you, means what is your consumer detail, then ask for the description, then ask for the status, then goes for validating the consumer, is he correct or not, then gives the second solution or second resolving process. Again same thing is going to happen for every time the consumer gives a call to the servicing center if it is a stateless servicing center. You may imagine such a situation if you will be into. Every time you have to provide your entire detail, then you will get a solution. So it is always starting from the zero. For that, we can go for using a kind of tokenized process, so that the representative one will have a token for the consumer when the consumer calls for first time. As you know, we get this process. So here the representative one gets the consumer detail, validates it, keeps the complaint description and gives the resolved process and a complaint number. That is what is the trick we can use by using cookie, session or JWT, all this thing. So next time when the consumer comes, the consumer doesn't come with all the details whichever the previously he has provided. He just comes with the new complaint, the complaint status and the complaint number which he has got in the previous request. Now the representative doesn't need to validate the consumer, because he sees or she sees the complaint number is there, because the complaint number is there, that's why he is a genuine consumer, so he doesn't need to validate it from the database. So he directly provides the second process of resolving the complaint, resolving the problem in fact. Now same thing is going to be repeated for any number of times the consumer comes with the new status of the complaint. Only the complaint number is going to be there, no details going to be provided by the consumer for second time onwards, because the token is there with the consumer, so he gets the resolves process or complaint resolving process with the help of this complaint number. So this can be done, this complaint number you can imagine as a cookie or it can be a JSON web token. So we will go for cookie first, then we will look at how we can go for implementing JWT. So let us go to a demo application where we will try to implement the stateless problem by using cookie. So here is the project which we had already created and discussed in the last video, where we are having two endpoints. One is to log in and another is to find out all accounts. So if we will compare with the presentation which I have made, each time the user wants to find out all accounts, then We have to secure it with the help of a validation process, because this is now insecure or open to public, anybody can find it out. So we have to give a security to it, and as well as we have to keep it for different users, for different types of response also we can produce. But right now we will stick to the same response for all users. Just for sake of example I will do it. Later on we will go for giving different response for different users, as we discussed regarding this servicing center and consumer relationship. Each time the user comes or consumer comes, the consumer need not to provide the identity, so we will go for using cookie over here, so that we can keep the identity of the consumer in the servicing center part, and we will provide the response whichever the user wants or consumer wants. So here I have gone for creating the login controller, which is having a method or indicating or map to a method, request mapping, validate. This validate method is going to create an HTTP header, because we are going to send the cookie. So cookie can be sent with the help of the headers. So HTTP header is the, let me maximize it. Okay, so let me move bit towards, okay, fine. So now this header is the new introduction of this example, and here I have declared a cookie, or I have declared a string, in fact, named it as cookie, and I have given the value to it as XYZ. It's a plain text. But when the cookie will be saved in the user's browser, if it is going to be plain text, and every time the user will request after getting the cookie will always travel with the request to the endpoint. So there are certain entities exist in the path of request and response. Means there is a possibility of hacking this information and go for using the same information and represent the server with the same cookie, so that the data can be fetched unauthorizedly, data can be fetched. So to avoid such type of scenario, what I have done, I have gone for hashing mechanism, so that even if the person who is a hacker kind of stuff, he is trying to find out the value of cookie and tries to use it, so he will get a complex bcrypt value, which is a encrypted value, in fact the hashed value. The hashed value we are going to create out of this XYZ. There is a method I have declared, that's a hash password. The hash password is my own defined method. It is going to accept this XYZ and return the bcrypt value. I have included the bcrypt Maven dependency. In fact, let me show you in the pom.xml, nothing extra, is simply a same Spring Boot project. Apart from default Spring Boot web, I have gone for adding this bcrypt dependency, so that I can go for using this bcrypt library for hashing. So here you can go for adding this bcrypt dependency into the pom.xml before going for this hashing mechanism. So here let me go back to the same code. So here I have gone for bcrypt dot hash password or hash pw. This plain text it is going to accept as XYZ, and this is going to be add the salt with it and return it the hashed value, not as XYZ, it is going to be a hashed value, so that it cannot be attacked by some kind of process is there, dictionary approach, or lot of different mechanism which I don't want to discuss in this video. That can be avoided with this hashed cookie. So this hashed cookie is now getting added to this header. The header which I have created, the header is now going to contain this set cookie as the variable in the header variable, and the hashed cookie is the method of this header variable's value. And I have gone for using a max age second variable. This is optional, we may provide, we may not. The max age is basically for mentioning the cookie, how long it is going to stay in the server, or how long it is going to stay in the browser. By default, some browser or some server keeps the cookie as far as the browser keeps open. If the browser closes, the cookie is going to be deleted. But I don't want to keep the cookie deleted. I don't want to delete the cookie. I want to keep the cookie for some longer period. So I have mentioned 60 into 60 into 24 into 7. That means it accepts the age in seconds. I want to do what? 60 seconds into 60 seconds means 60 minutes in fact. So 24, this is means 1 day, and 7 means I want to keep this cookie for 7 days. I may remove this part also. This is optional. So whenever this response will go to the user, the response will carry the header, and I am keeping this XYZ, whatever we might have gone for. We could have gone for finding the value of this XYZ from the database or something like this. Dynamism I have not added. So I have just kept for everybody this cookie is going to be same. Obviously it should not happen, but just for sake of example I am showing it. We may find this value from the key from the database. Then this user ID and password getting compared. Whatever parameters it accepts, UID and pass, these two are compared with a static value as admin and 1234, as I had did in the previous example. Then here is a response entity. The response entity is a class present in the Spring Framework HTTP package. This response entity is going to contain the header and as well as the body. Body is going to be the response which you are going to give to the user. The body can be anything. Generally we provide the JSON data to the user. I am providing here a welcome message, a text piece of data. So here response entity status is okay, because there are different status of HTTP status. So I am providing OK status, then adding the header with it, whichever header I have created, then providing the message, and that response is going to return back to the user or to the browser of the user, or maybe to the postman. If this doesn't match, if it doesn't success, then what happens? It is going to give the response entity with HTTP status has not found. Here no header I am providing, so no cookie is going to be sent to the user end, and body it is going to display invalid credential. That's all. So this is for the validity of user. So I have kept created the cookie and kept the cookie value in the session variable. The session variable is auto-add over here, so that I can use directly the session set attribute, so that the XYZ which I have created, now it is being stored in the session for the letter comparison, because second time onwards when the user will come, that time we will compare the user provided the cookie and the token which you have saved in the session. That comparison, if he succeeds, then only we will provide the response, else we will not provide the response. So in the second endpoint, which is a get endpoint, all count is there, all account in fact. In the all account, I have gone for creating this method mapped with it, and here I am going for this fetching the cookie whichever is provided by the user. It accepts the HTTP servlet request now. So HTTP servlet request is going to contain this header, and from the header we can find out the cookie. We will store it to a string. I have named it as a raw cookie. Then I am, since I have provided a cookie with the age, so there will be a format of hash code, then semicolon, then max age. So everything will come as a single string. So to divide it or to split it or to substring it, I have used the substring method. It will start from index number 0 and it will find out the first index of semicolon, because every header variable value set is going to be separated by semicolon. So the first semicolon wherever it will find, then it will give us this token which the user has provided as the cookie. Then that is going to be compared with a method which I have created again. This is my own defined method. If check pass, this is the token which is found from the session again. In the first method we have created the token, in the second method we are fetching the token. So token is going to contain, obviously we know that it is going to contain XYZ, this is the plain text, and the hash token is going to be accepted from the cookie from the user. And if both are going to be same, check pass is a method I have defined over here. If check pass, first is the plain text, second is the hashed password. Both are going to be compared by using this check password. The plain text is going to be compared with the hash text, hash password. This is the bcrypt comparison. If the comparison succeeds, then it returns true, else it returns false. That's all I have done in this check pass. So check pass method, if it succeeds, means if the token is correct, then it is going to create a list of accounts and return that list of 5 accounts I am going to create. This account class is very simple. The account class, you can see the account number and amount, 2 variables I have kept in the account class. I am creating this account class object 5 times and adding it to the list. This list of array I have created as all accounts, and it will return back to the user. If this password or token which the user who has provided, if it doesn't match, then what will happen? It will go for this creating another list as account error. Here I have introduced a new class as account error. This is my own defined class, account error. You can see account error doesn't have anything special, only a simple string variable as message. It has the set message, get message method, and here I am creating the account class object only once, account error in fact, account error class object only once, and the message I am sending as the authorization failed. Then the error list which I have created, that is being added, and I return back to the user. No other thing, only one object is going to be there. When it is succeeds, it provides 5 objects. When it doesn't succeed, it provides only one object of account error type. So this is all about the Spring Boot application, where I have gone for creating the microservice and validating the cookie. Let us test it. Let us run it first. So I have to run it as loan service. So loan service is the project name. So I will test it with the help of Postman. So let us go to the Postman. So here first of all we have to type the 8080 is the port number of my Spring Boot application, and the first login is the first endpoint, and it post is the method, and here UID pass are the two parameters we have to supply with the help of body as a form data, because it's going to give us support post method. So UID admin pass is 123. Since I have shown you the code, we have gone for static comparison. So when I send it, so look what is going to happen. In the body section I am getting the output as welcome message, because I have provided the proper user ID and password, and I am getting the welcome message. But more importantly, in the header section you can see the set cookie method or set cookie over here. This is a session, because session, since we have created session, also is going to be the part of cookie. But this one, let me move out. So this one which we have created, I have provided XYZ, but here the hashed part became this lengthier hash code. Okay, so the hash code is there as the cookie value. The max age I have provided for 7 days. It became 6,04,800 as the number of seconds. So now this one we have to copy. Okay, let me use something else as a wrong user ID or wrong password. Suppose I will say admin1 and send it. So what is going to happen? There is no cookie you can see in the header section, and in the body section you can see invalid credential. Okay, so let me provide the proper one again, admin, then send it. So welcome message I got, and in the header section I have this cookie. I just need to copy this entire stuff from the cookie part and go for the second request, which is a get request for all account, the second endpoint which I have created to find out the accounts. Then in the header section I have to, so here param authorization, then header. In the header section I have to create a cookie like this. If you type only C, automatically the cookie will appear. So you can see here cookie, then the value which you might have copied from the previous response, that you can paste over here, and you can send it to the server. Let us see. So here I got the list of JSON array, because I have provided the proper cookie. The request is now authorized. If I will change something, if I don't know the cookie, if I don't send the cookie, suppose, then what is going to happen? It gives us, because it expects the cookie, it gives us error, internal server error. It's all account is not being accepted. Suppose I will provide the cookie and I will change the value of cookie which I have got, something I will change, 2-3 letters I have removed, then again send it. You can see the message came as authorization failed. Now we are not getting the accounts which we were getting while we are providing the proper value of cookie which we have got in the user end or in the postman end. So this is how we can go for securing our endpoints of microservice with the help of cookie, with the help of encryption, and it is limited to the web applications. It is not behind the JWT. JWT also is going to be same kind of stuff, but JWT can work in non-web application also. Means if it is a mobile application or something else, there also we can go for using JWT, but cookie is limited to the web browser. So Web Postman also works like a web browser, that's why we are being able to use cookie. So if our entire application is limited to the web world, then there is no problem in going for this validation. It is more secure, it is or security we can provide with the help of hashing mechanism. The cookie also is going to be a simpler process. So there are some advantages and some disadvantages also. Disadvantages, as I said, it is limited to the web application, or else there is no other disadvantages as compared to JWT. We will go for JWT in the next session. So thanks for watching.